Hi. Hello. Hello. Hi there. Hi, those that are coming in. Hello. Hi, nice to see you. There's quite a few coming in now. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi. Right then. Hello, welcome everybody. If this is your first time, I started these last week, the first Gain Creative Confidence sessions with Psychologies magazine. Just wait for a few more people to pop in and then we will begin. So for those who are just joining, if there's anybody wanting Psychologies magazine delivered directly to your door, then there's an offer in the bio for that. This month's edition is excellent. I am a massive follower of Psychologies magazine, have been a subscriber for years and really look forward to it popping through the door. So if you're looking for some inspiration, then head over to their bio for their latest offer. Hi, hello everybody coming in. Ooh, from Germany. Hi. Hello Sabine, that's nice to see you. So how did everybody get on with last week's task for those that were here? Obviously not everybody will have been here from last week, but we did a challenge on trees and writing either a story or doing some art or some photography around trees, and I had some great responses actually sent to me. One from a lady called Salma who did a most amazing tree poem, so that was wonderful to see, and I was just really glad that you guys had a go at the challenge, so that was really good. Hello, hi everybody. What I did realise last week on watching the live back, apparently Instagram doesn't show any of the comments now when you watch it back, so for those that were just listening, it probably sounded quite a bit odd because I was responding to comments coming through. So if there's anything like that today, I'll read the comment out so that it makes a bit more sense. Hello everybody. Hi. So what we're going to talk about today is kind of following on from last week, really. So we talked about, you wrote, see, somebody's come through already saying, I wrote a poem about trees, won't dare show it, but did it. Oh, well, that's really nice to hear. And hopefully, if you keep coming along to these sessions, we'll build that confidence so that you dare show it. But it's entirely up to you. Not everybody wants to kind of put their work out there, and it's more about you enjoying doing it in the first place. So I hope you did enjoy it, and that's great to hear. I'm really pleased about that. So last week, yes, we talked about inspiration in the form of personal memories and things that we had connections to. This week I kind of want to carry on that conversation in terms of inspiration, but look at it a bit differently. So there's not just your kind of own personal things out there that can inspire your work. There are there are plenty of other things that can inspire you, as I'm sure you can imagine. One of those things that I dip into a lot is books, and if you're starting out, that can be really helpful. There's a lot of creative books out there that can just kind of tap into what your interests are. You obviously learn a lot, but one great example of this is a book called Conscious Creativity. Obviously you can't see it, it's not the right way around here, but this is by Philippa Stanton, who is 5foot on Instagram. I don't know if you've ever looked at her work, but she does amazing like colour flat lays of things that you find around your house, and it's really interesting. What she talks about in here, there's various kind of questions and quizzes about what kind of creative you are. So if you are right at the beginning, something like this can be really, really helpful to just kind of find out what really appeals to you, whether you're more visual, whether you're more into writing, all different kinds of creative activities really. So this is a really good starting point. Another one that you'll probably hear me talk a lot about on my socials and things like that is a book called Big Magic, which is by Elizabeth Gilbert. And for those who have read it, they become complete converts. But for those that haven't, it's a really interesting concept that ideas are out there, almost like a physical entity, or something that exists that comes to find you and goes to find the right person. And it sounds a bit woo and a bit crazy, but actually it's really, really interesting. So I do recommend reading that as well. I'm going to keep looking at my notes, by the way, because I've made quite a lot today and I don't want to forget anything, because obviously the comments are coming through and I want to respond to you guys as well. So if you see me glancing, that's what I'm doing. Another thing is magazines, so specialist magazines. If in the area that you're really interested in, I can highly recommend those. So something like Writers News is absolutely packed full of tips and advice on how to get published. There's stories in there, there's competitions in there, and again, it's a really great starting point. If you, especially like the lady above, if you perhaps wanting to send your work out there but not sure where to start, then entering a writing competition might be the way that you do it. Although they do get a lot of entries, so don't be disheartened if you don't get in there straight away. But what's really nice is that it can form a prompt for you to do that work. So they might have a competition around a certain theme, so you can use that to inspire your work and just have a go at doing something different. So there's absolutely loads of magazines, specialist magazines out there, hobby magazines, that can really just increase your knowledge about the industry if you're wanting to go into something a little bit more professional, or just, like I said, to give those prompt ideas. And a lot of them are online as well. Writers News is called Writers Online, and it has loads and loads of tips on there, and quite often like daily prompts. I think it's called coffee chats and or coffee break exercises or something like that, and they put hello everybody, they put tips and hints on there, so that can be a really useful kind of daily practice, really, if you're wanting to increase your writing volume and not sure where to start. So yeah, that's a really good idea. The other thing I'd say is local groups. So when I started out this journey kind of 3 years ago, when I left corporate land, in order to kind of get my creativity back, what I did was sign up to Here, There and Everywhere. Now, it does require a little bit of courage, I'm not going to lie. I first went to art group, I think it was 3 years ago now, encouraged by a friend, and I was like, hey, I'm not anywhere near the standard of the people that are there, but I went along anyway, and I drew a really, really funny picture of my dog that was just not good. And kind of break time, you have coffee and you go around and look at everybody's work, and the members there were so nice to me. They was so encouraging despite it being horrendous. They said really nice things, so that was really nice. And if you can find a group like that, they're not expensive. The one I go to is like £2.50 a week, so it's that shouldn't put you off, because there's many community groups out there that are like that and very, very easily affordable. But the thing that you'll get out of it is that people come along to demo and things, so you learn very quickly new techniques, especially with like art. I'd not trained, I'd done GCSE art and that was it. So I had no knowledge whatsoever really when I went along, and I've just learned from the things that we've done. So an example of that, because of lockdown at the moment, we've gone virtual, as you can imagine. So on a Tuesday night, hi everybody coming in, on a Tuesday night, as we get to our virtual meeting, we'll have done a prompt from the previous week. So as an example of that, I'll just show you this. Probably my best one of the lot. So we had a challenge on kitchen utensils, for example. Now, I would not have drawn kitchen utensils normally, but I thought, no, I will have a go. So I spent a pleasurable couple of hours sat down doing this. So this is cheese grater, along with a lemon and a lime, and I'd never done metal before, so I did it on sort of coloured paper on the background, which I do think kind of helped. And then it was all about highlighting and using coloured pencil to just have a go, and I really enjoyed doing it. So that's an example of where a local group can provide a prompt that just kind of sets you off going. And you'll find, there's many about, and usually very local. Or if, worst comes to worst, you set one up yourself. Thank you, Ellie. yeah, if not, then you set one up yourself, and that can be a great starting point for people who are right at the beginning to encourage each other along. And that's what it's all about, really. It's the encouragement side of things, and showing you new techniques and skills. So, for example, our art group has an exhibition every year. So we all exhibit just like on one day, and the talent within that group is amazing, and there's some really, really professional artists in there that do this as a job, not just as a hobby like myself. So it can feel a little daunting, but the point is all the members really encourage you and get you to have a go. And people that are coming along to the exhibition, they kind of want to see that anyway. They want to see progression of people that join a group who have been there many years or are more professional artists. It's about understanding what it takes to get there. So yeah, that's a great example to do is to join a local group. And if you're nervous about it, by all means tell them that you're nervous about it. And I've not found one that isn't very, very welcoming so far. Or if you are a little bit nervous, then take a friend along and have that as a new activity to do that's come out of lockdown. A lot of people have been trying more creative things in lockdown, so it would be really nice to kind of continue that when it all ends, and just have a go at doing something different with your friends, really. So that's another example. The final one is to have adventures, and that sounds really simple, but and possibly more tricky in lockdown life right now. But you kind of have to live an enriched life in order to be creative. You've got to go out there and have those experiences and memories, and also just being more observant. So before all this, I used to take my daughter to swimming pretty much every day. She's a swimmer for her local club, and I used to go to Costa and do my work there or do some writing there. Now, what's really funny is if you kind of treat that almost like writing research, and without being too kind of stalkerish, you can sit there and just catch the odd conversation and what people are talking about. And also it's great to kind of understand a bit of dialogue and dialect and how people talk in certain areas. So without making it too obvious. And I know other authors do this. I'm sure Lisa Jewell said she did this on train journeys when she used to go on business. She'd sit there and she'd be like making notes of people, or it might have been Claire McIntosh, I'm not sure, but they used to make notes of people that they were sat on the train with. So that's another way of kind of tapping into other inspiration. Another thing I'd say is for things like photography. So obviously I pretty much walk the dog every day out of lockdown when my husband's back at work, and I take photographs from my Soothed by Nature account, which is another Instagram account that's purely around nature. And quite often when I'm on those walks, I am looking for that creative opportunity and what photograph I could take that day to get on my account. So it does make actually the walks more mindful in a way, which you wouldn't anticipate with taking photos. Some people say get off your phone and just experience it is, which obviously that's good as well, but I do find myself looking for the real detail of things when I'm out there. So a perfect example was this morning, just going up the lane. I keep a lookout this time of year for a moth called a burnet moth, which is black and red. And I'll put these on the notes actually afterwards. I was trying to print it off, but we've run out of ink thanks to the children use it all for their homework. So I'll pop these on Connect Communities and you'll see what I mean. But so I found this moth when I was walking up the lane today, but I saw it from a distance and there was nettles and thistles and everything before it, and I wanted a picture. So I squeezed on in there, took the picture, and then realised actually there's also a ladybird in the background. Now that sounds daft, but when you're doing an HCAM where you're taking pictures all the time of things like this, and I've taken several pictures of burnet moths, but just having a ladybird in the background then makes it a different shot and a little bit more creative to when I last posted that. last year. So I'm always looking for those, which might sound silly little details, but actually look really good when you get back home and you see the photograph. Another one I took last year, again I'll put this on, is one of some flowering mint, which has a purple flower. And I'd taken this out on my walk, not realising, and then when I got home and I really zoomed in, there was this tiny little spider in the middle of it all, but that made the picture. And I would have probably deleted that had I not zoomed in. So it's looking for those constant details. Another example for my Soothed by Nature account, I was wanting to get, if you follow Psychologies a lot and read the magazine, you'll know that they have a photo of the month competition. And one of my goals last year was to try and win one of their month's competitions. And I'd sent in a picture of, it was like hogsweed bare branches with the sun coming up in the background and a spider's web sort of in the middle with some drops of dew on, and that was really zoomed in on, and with the sunrise in the background. So just getting that focus again of those really small details, but it made the picture, it made it so much more interesting. So it's being really observant and looking for those things when you're out and about. And if nature's not your thing, then buildings might be. I know there's somebody I follow on Instagram who takes really cool shots of just parts of buildings, or there's another one who, I've forgotten what she's called now, she's in Brighton, but she takes really bright pictures of the whole town. So she'll find something really unusual, like a really brightly coloured car or a really brightly coloured door or a sign or some, oh thank you Salma, she's just saying that she saw the photo, thank you. You can get really kind of textured pictures, like old beat up wooden doors that are half painted, half not, and it's just getting that really kind of interesting detail in on your pictures can make all the difference. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And so John Hegarty, who is a creative who has worked in some very high level agencies and is famous for his creativity, wrote a book called Hegarty on Creativity. It's a little pocket book, and he talks about observation, and I just want to kind of say what he says because I think it's spot on. So the title is Remove Your Headphones, and he says, do you know what really upsets me? When I see one of my creatives wandering through their day with headphones on. Why are they cutting themselves off from the world? Inspiration is all around us. All that we see, hear, touch, taste and smell helps us to form new ideas even if we don't always realise it. So why reduce the amount of inspiration reaching you by wearing headphones? He goes on to say, to be a successful creative person, you have to be fascinated by the world and all its wonders, absurdities, failings and mishaps. The world can be a constant source of inspiration, but you must absorb it through all your senses before you can hope to channel it into fresh ideas. That just kind of sums it up perfectly, really, for me. You've got to experience all those sensorial, if that's such a word, feelings out there to be able to translate those into new ideas. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. And then what I wanted to talk to you about for this week's task is I want to kind of take what I've talked about, and another resource for you to look at is creative quotes, and this is kind of what I'm talking to you about the task today. So you can find loads of creative quotes, there's millions of them on Pinterest, and I have a whole section on my Curious Creative Club Pinterest account. If you want to just go there and find them, it might be a bit easier, but there's millions on there that you can search anyway. And I find them really useful, and some of my family laugh because I have kind of quotes all up around the house and I think I drive them insane. Hello everybody coming in. But I actually genuinely find them useful, and if you're wanting to increase your creativity and really take this seriously and carve out that time properly, then small kind of creative quotes dotted about the house are a good reminder to do that, and to just kind of put you in that mindset of, how do you want to feel when you do this creative stuff? Do you want to be inspired? Do you want to try something new that day? And it's just about remembering, because it's very easy for creative time to be sidelined by other things, especially right now in lockdown. it can be very easily put to one side to help the kids out, or do some housework or whatever. But to me, it's just as important as physical exercise. So you wouldn't necessarily cancel your run or bike ride, but you'd probably put some creative time to the bottom of the list. And what I'm saying is we need to raise that up, because it's just as important, I think, for your mindset to do creative work as it is to do physical work. So that being said, what the task is about today is to find a quote. Hang on, I'm just going to read this. Definitely have a mood board of quotes, really helps with mindset. Yes, completely agree. I just have a whole wall, my family despairs. But yes, I really agree. And that's a really good way of doing it, actually. If you put it on a mood board, you can move that around then wherever you are or wherever you're working. That helps. So in terms of creative quotes, one of my to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So what I want you to do is to find a creative quote that really speaks to you, really makes sense to you. And I want you to kind of recreate that. So into a piece of artwork. So you can write that quote out however you might want to do it, in fancy letters or as a word cloud or any way you want to do it. And then I want you to decorate that quote and have it somewhere really visible in the end. So as an example of this, on my Pinterest board, I have, like I say, a collection of quotes. Now you won't be able to read these, so I'm going to read them out, but it's just to show you the artwork as an example. So creativity requires the courage to let go of uncertainty. So that's this one here, and it's a hot air balloon. So it's about, kind of jumping out of the deep end and just giving it a go. So that's one example. There's this one here. It says, you got to keep going to keep growing. So obviously that's kind of surrounded by flowers. Perfect example of how to illustrate that. This one I really like, this, and I use this all the time. Creative minds are rarely tidy. So that's basically showing a big mess, and that's what creative minds are like. I often call my table, when I finish doing some creative work, the craft and math table, because it's the aftermath of just messiness everywhere. Another one here is don't be afraid of silly ideas. And when you're right at the beginning, I think that's really important. No ideas are silly, not at all. And then this one is by Steve Jobs. So this is creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they do something, they feel a little guilty because they didn't really do it, they just saw something, and that goes back to the observation again as well. So those are some kind of examples of what are on my Pinterest page. And then my absolute favourite quote from the lovely Elizabeth Gilbert, who I mentioned earlier, who did Big Magic. She says, the courage to go on that hunt in the first place is what separates a mundane experience from a more enchanted one. So I'll just say that again. The courage to go on that hunt in the first place is what separates a mundane existence from an enchanted one. And that really speaks to me. That's about, if you go on that journey to do creative things, your life becomes a lot richer and a lot more colourful and an enchanted one. So I had a go at doing this yesterday, a bit of practice what I'm about to preach. And I was going to put the quote in the middle of my picture, but as I did it, I thought actually I don't need to, because the picture kind of speaks for itself. So you can either, like I say, write the quote out and decorate around it, or you can create a piece that embodies that quote or that sentiment anyway. So here is what I did yesterday. It's a bit wacky, so let me just show you. I don't know if you can see that. So here is, to me, this is the path. So that's going on the hunt. And going from kind of a mundane existence here to an enchanted one. So here you've got my tree, because I like trees, and the roots coming down, because to me that kind of represents that having your roots visible or your past visible is sometimes a good thing, and can create a richer experience as well. So being vulnerable and being authentic and having your roots exposed, so to speak. This tree obviously has apples on. If you were here last week, you know that I believe if you shake the tree, the apples will fall, i.e. if you want to make something happen, go and shake the tree. Don't just stand there waiting for everything to come to you. So that's the tree there with some more apples on. It's then got this nice sunset and some birds there, and this mountain in the background. So the whole point of this piece is that I'm heading from one point to an enchanted, enriched life by taking on board creativity. So that's what this image means to me. Now, it's not perfect. I hope you realise that. I'm not completely happy about the mountain, but what I always say is practice makes progress. This is only my 4th ever time with acrylics. So I'm still learning, not quite sure on acrylics. I've done way more watercolour. But I do like the really vivid colours. And, you know, I just had a pleasurable few hours yesterday just having a go. And again, that's what it's about. Just to show you some other artwork I did a while ago that kind of explains this as well. So when we went, just before we went into lockdown actually, I did these. I don't know if I had a premonition or something, but I wanted to create some postcards to add to my art cards that I sell. And I had a little kind of gold leaf sponge in my painting kit. I must have bought it at some craft fair or something. And I just started messing about with that. So here is the shape, the gold leaf shape. And then I added some characters on it. And the wording says, "Here by your side for the ride," which I think I made that as as a thing to support my cancer journey. So for those who don't know, who may have joined and thought, wow, she looks way different to a picture, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma last November. I'm through chemo now. I've had 6 months of chemo, but hence the hair. But I thought at the time, you know, it'd be nice just for anybody going through something like that, it'd be nice just to send a little message like that, here by your side for the ride, because chemo is certainly a roller coaster ride, and I just thought that'd be a really nice thing to send someone. So I kind of made that up. I then took the same gold leaf print and just did a half bit of it, created it into a glass, and this one says "Cheers to incredible you." So that might be for someone who's just got a new job, or it might be just that you think they're incredible and you want to send them a postcard. So that was another way of how I used that sponge. And then finally this one, which is a message I use quite a lot, called "All Things Grow with Love." So I created a daffodil out of the same sponge. So all these started with me just playing with the sponge, and then I filled things in afterwards. So that's a perfect example of, you know, just messing and experimenting, and look where it can lead. And I've now printed all those postcards, and, you know, they're on sale. They haven't been out long, so I don't know how they're going to do, and even if they don't do well, I'll just use them myself. So it really doesn't matter. It's about just having that chance to play and mess around. So I hope that's been useful. Does everybody kind of understand the task? Is there any questions? If there are, please, if you understand the task, put a high five up. If you have any questions, please pop them on now and I'll answer them. But hopefully that gives you something to work with for next week, and should also then be useful for you going forward on this creative journey as a reminder to carve in that time in your week and just have a go, because that's what it's all about. The other thing you could do, if there isn't a quote that resonates with you quite right, oh, thank you, Vanessa, that's good. She says, love it, good. If there isn't one that completely resonates, have a go at making up your own. So I did that again at the weekend, just having a play. So one I made up was, creativity is about being Creativity is about being observant, absorbing the world to translate and craft into ideas more magical than reality. So for me, that means taking what you've learned, what you've observed, and making it brighter, more radiant, more dramatic, I suppose, to people whose work you're giving it to, or showing or building on that work. So yeah, that was one that kind of resonated with me. The other thing you could do is write the word creativity downwards and pick a word to go with each letter within creativity. So I had a go at that as well, which took me quite a while for it to feel remotely right. So I did creativity radiantly expands attention, transforming into valiant ideas, thoughts and yearning. And again, once you've been doing creative things for a while, I think you do get a yearning to do it because you understand the feeling and the calmness that it gives you. So yeah, I think that's a good one. Just to end on a good quote from Joe Lycett, who is a comedian who was interviewed on a podcast last week that I was listening to. He said, while sort of being in lockdown, he said, "Oh, wow, hello from United Arab Emirates. Hello, wow, that is far. Hello, welcome." He said, making something, which to him was cooking, or creating, which to him was sketch writing, is the thing that is bringing me solace and contentment in lockdown. And I think that just sums it up. That's what I want creativity to do for you. That's what I want these exercises to do for you, is to bring some contentment and some solace and just a really nice time. So I hope that's been useful for you today. I know I've kind of dotted about a bit, but I hope you get the kind of gist of what I'm talking about. If you do want to share any of your work, please do on Psychology's Connected Communities Facebook page. That's kind of where we're starting to share things. Or you could send it to me on my Instagram, which is The Curious Creative Club. I hang out there a lot, so by all means send it over to me. If you're not quite brave enough to share it yourself, you can always send it to me and I'll just share it and not put your name on there. And it'll be nice for you to see what people say. I'm also on Facebook as well, the same, Curious Creative Club, if you want to see me there. And as I said, the Pinterest account where I have collected a lot of creative quotes is the same, so the Curious Creative Club. So hopefully that has been useful for you. Any questions, you can DM me at those places anyway afterwards. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what you produce and which quotes mean the most to you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Okay, that's it for now, and I will see you next Monday. See you later. Bye.